for us to consider fluoridation of municipal water supply. The discussion before I do that, I'd like to briefly read the comments and then hopefully lead us into a discussion. So if I may, I do want to thank many citizens who have in our community provided email and or other written comments to me regarding my proposal to the council at our last council meeting. I want everybody to know that I have read each and every one of those notes carefully and prayerfully. I have also met personally with proponents and opponents of the issue of water fluoridation since our last council meeting in person. It is obvious this issue is of great concern to many in our city. However, I remain of the opinion that the overall health and wellness and the direction in which the city is going, a city that remains divided, is a transcendent issue. I can only think how extraordinary it would be that if each and every one of us in this council room would bring to a common cause and a conversation the same passion, energy, and focus we have expended on the merits or not of water fluoridation. It would be marvelous to see. I have sought to do the right thing every day as your mayor. I seek now to do that same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have major issues facing this community which simply require us to come together earnestly and united in dealing with issues like drug and substance abuse and our school buildings which badly need facility upgrades. And there are other issues I could name. My proposal before the council tonight for consideration and discussion is intended to be a compromise. I believe it has merit, and many who have spoken to me have agreed. With that said, I would like to open this agenda item by inviting the council to have me move a motion forward for further discussion this evening, so that we can earnestly and talk about this. And as a kind of a reminder of what I had said at our last meeting. And that would be that we would end fluoridation of the city water supply, but maintain our fluoridation facilities, conduct an advisory vote on the question of fluoridation during the 2017 municipal general election. I would note that we can do that sooner. It could be other avenues for an election before the 2017 municipal general election. And if the council agree to adhere to the outcome of that advisory vote, whatever it will take. That's what I propose. That's what I propose again tonight. With that, I welcome the discussion tonight.
Just for point of clarification, did you want a motion first, or do you want to just discuss
I can do that in the form of a motion. It would require a second to discuss it.
So move. I'll move your
I
statement.
would move to make that in the form of a motion.
Begin the conversation.
So, we have a second for the So, members of the council, we invite your comments.
Right. I guess I've got a couple of points that I just need to clarify. I was under the understanding that we cannot find a future council by any of our decisions. So I don't think we can find, in the final statement it says that we will abide by what's said. We can't do that, can we? Correct, but I mean, if we have a vote at the next election, then I don't think we can find a future council, is that correct?
Which is why it kind of led me to believe that maybe the best interest in this election that I'm proposing be held sooner than later.
I'd just like to chime in on this, that, the elections, if we do go to the general election ballot in November, it's maybe 2 weeks. So we're talking the third week of November, that the election, all the elections will be certified, including this if it's put on the ballot. So it would be this council here that could act on it.
Right, but aren't we too late to get on that ballot now?
I'm not talking about.
17.
2017. But, was there a question asked, did you?
Right, so can we bind, in 2017, there's gonna be, 4 new positions. So can we bind?
The new positions won't take effect until January of 2018. So this council will serve until that time.
Okay, but still, we can't bind the council to a decision, can we?
No, you can't. It is an advisory ballot, but each of you who will still be council members at the end of 2017 can state your commitment to be bound by that.
Okay. So we can do it by stating our commitment.
I was anticipating a discussion in this regard in terms of the election, and when it might be held. I invited our city clerk to present some ideas of other potential elections between now and that date. There are a number of other choices. They come at higher or lower costs, that must be stated. And for the record, I would note that those that would be considered a special election ballot could cost in the range of up to $30,000.
Yeah.
Whereas a election, a municipal election could be costing closer to $1,000, for example. And there's a range of dates for special elections or primary or general elections. Other dates may have it here in front of me. I don't want to belabor this point or take the time to read every one of these, but note that there are other opportunities.
And I guess I would be in favor of the least amount of money, because we've already paid for one, and ideally, I would rather not pay for another one. But I think it's, the cost should be $1,500, for the 2017 election. And I think that's small enough that I think we can do that. So I would go with that.
A question, perhaps for Mr. Bloor. My understanding that last year when we addressed this topic, we talked about and we had originally talked about going to the public for a full-fledged vote on a ballot. And it was communicated to us that that was not something that was possible because the state says that we cannot go to the public for a vote on matters of public health, which fluoride is considered. So for that reason, we started regrouping. So my question would be, in the event of us going to an advisory ballot, but agreeing to abide by it prior to going to the ballot, aren't we just circumventing going and doing a real live vote, which is not permissible to start with? It seems like, it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, but we're trying to make it look like something else. Would that be a problem for us?
You can, let me just answer that. This is that the council certainly can put this question on an election or an advisory ballot. You can do that. How that's interpreted, I suppose that's subject to various interpretations. But you certainly have the legal ability to put that question on the ballot. And the difference, I think, between the advisory ballot and this one is that only citizens of Port Angeles, registered voters in Port Angeles, would be voting on it, whereas with the survey that was taken earlier, that went to water users in Port Angeles as well as some in the county. That's the part that wouldn't be possible with a vote that was on the election.
When I was at that meeting, I was under the impression that we went, or that the council went with that vote that they did because they wanted to include the PUD customers that were drawing from the city water supply. And if we did it on the regular ballot, there was no way to include those PUD customers.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, my idea back then, Mr. Meredith, was to include any of the precincts of Clallam County that receive City of Port Angeles water, and that idea was shot down. I want to go on the record again that I did bind myself publicly to the results of our recent fluoride advisory vote, and no one's came to arrest me. I've not been served any papers, so I still stand behind the first survey that was sent out. This matter before us tonight is not my first choice, but in the matter of compromise, in order to get the folks that bothered to turn in their survey to get their voice heard, I will compromise and vote in support of Mayor Downey's motion. Another thing I'd like to set the record straight is I've been painted as a pro-fluoride individual, and actually I'm a pro-democracy person. So I value listening to my constituents. I value the folks that take the time to vote, and I want to be their voice. So again, I will support this. It's not my first, it's my second choice.
Brad, you're still with us, I hope?
Well, I would like to say that I'm a pro-public health person. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound fine.
I don't believe that there should be a vote on public health matters. I think that public health issues, whether it's vaccination for school children, whether it's fluoridation of the water, I don't believe that the public is in a position to make those decisions. That's why we have public health officials. I don't think city council should be voting as well. I mean, I don't think we're any more able to vote on this than the general public. But unfortunately, on this issue of fluoridation, it places the responsibility with the city council because it's the city's water supply that has to be affected by whatever additives are put there. Having said that, I'm not going to be voting in favor of an advisory vote, but I believe that the majority of the council has decided they want to do that. And if you do that, I believe the proper thing to do is to, if you're going to follow the mayor's proposal and suspend fluoridation, then we move to a vote as quickly as possible. And I think it's academic whether council people submit themselves to the result of the advisory vote. It's an advisory vote. I think council still has to vote. Those that wish to vote for the result of the advisory vote can do so. And I would encourage us to make that decision as soon as possible. And I would say June or February or March of next year, if that's the decision, and we suspend the fluoridation until that time and let people decide what they want to tell the council. And I think it's what was the proposal of the mayor. And as I say, I can't vote in favor of it, but I do understand that the council feels that they need to go in this direction.
So, let me stop here just for a moment. And checking in on Brad's request. So, Jennifer, do you have a copy of this?
I do.
with what you presented?
Yes.
So if I'm to read this correctly, the earliest opportunity in 2017 would be, the earliest opportunities would be, for example, February 26th. Is that correct?
It would
I
be
mean,
February
I
of
guess what
2000.
this says is February 26th, 2016, so I don't know what the actual date is in 2017.
It would be similar, but not the exact date.
And then there's one again, there's also in August, is it August 2nd, is that the next one? That would be a primary election.
The council has two options for special elections, one in February, one in April. And those are the special elections are only triggered by a jurisdiction, submitting a resolution to the county. So those elections don't happen unless the jurisdiction has done that. That's why the costs can be so much more for the special elections, because theoretically we could be the only thing on the ballot.
So then, for example, from May 13th or thereabouts, to the August 2nd, that would be the next one. So the
Yes.
cost would be somewhat dramatically different.
They would for the special elections. The primary election, I don't believe would be as expensive.
Okay, so,
So would the cost for the August 2nd be the same thing, like 1,500 give or take, or is it gonna be much more? So,
It would be more, but it wouldn't be as much as the special election.
okay.
The least expensive option is the general election. The county, they can only estimate costs because we don't know how many things are gonna be on the ballot for the primary election. And we
Great,
split those costs across the county.
All right, but, and the other point I wanna make is, I know Brad, brought up vaccination versus, and fluoridation as both being public, health issues. And I'd like to make a distinction here, because if I don't get vaccinated, I can infect you, and you, and you, and you. But if I don't have fluoride, I'm not likely to, take my toothache and pass it on along within me. So I just wanna make that completely clear, that it's one, the public health issue as to the whole community as a whole versus my own personal care. So I just wanted to bring that up and just make a point of that.
I'd like to go back to my point about the earliest possible date in February of 2017. I think the purpose of the mayor's proposal is to end the division in the community once and for all. And if that's going to be done, the longer we draw that out, the more we continue to be divided as a community. People have already testified tonight. They'd like to move on to some other issues that are more important and not just get hung up on one issue. So this is an important issue. It's holding up the city's business. If you're going to have an election, have it in February 2017.
I wouldn't support a $30,000 or anywhere near that election in February. This whole thing is like a bad divorce. We can't sit here and keep throwing money at this. We spent money on a survey that nobody listened to. Then we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. It's held up everything else in our city. Great things that folks have pointed out going on in our city. There's other issues to deal with. If we stop the fluoridation now, it puts a halt to knowing that everybody will get their voice heard again in the general election. But $30,000, no way. And I will support Mayor Downey in this. I agree with Lee that this is not my first choice, but it is as close as we're gonna get for right now. And I would support it with a November advisory vote. Yes.
This evening, we heard during the public comment period that if we decide on a vote, that it will be fought and opposed. So I feel like once again, we're getting into a vicious cycle of contention. So we've heard that this evening, that we were told that this canon should be left to the new city council. However, it cannot, it doesn't want this council to make the decision, but a new city council. You know, I feel that, I can't support this proposal because ending water fluoridation now, will take away the benefits of safe, effective, best practice in helping our infants and our young children develop the strong enamel that will safeguard their dental health as they grow up. And it's many children in our community don't brush, and for families that are not getting good dental care. And I just want to support the citizens that are in favor of fluoridation for the health benefits of the community, and I need to speak out on their behalf. So, again, we were told tonight that any vote that you provide will be opposed, and so I think that is really not getting to the goal that you're trying to achieve. So, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
That's right.
So, Deputy Mayor Kidd, I believe you were one of the people up here that spoke about a flawed survey and how you wouldn't respond to a flawed survey. Would you help us design a survey that you will agree with?
We are told any vote will be fought, they will fight a vote, okay?
We're talking
That's what
about
I'm not here to
I'm-
argue about, I'm just making my point.
No.
We're told tonight if we set a vote, they'll fight it.
And again, you cited a flawed survey. I'm asking for your help in putting together a survey that you would honor. The constituents would like to speak to us through a survey. Would you help us?
I don't see a proposition tonight that I can support, and under those circumstances, it's an effort in vain if they're going to fight.
Well, again, a flawed survey was pointed out from several council members, and I'm asking for your help in putting together a survey that you will respond to. Again, when we initially talked of a survey last summer, I started out with putting something on this November's general election ballot. That got turned around, and I believe it was your motion, Deputy Mayor Kidd, that asked for the survey of the residents. And then you claimed it was flawed. So help us design something that can go on a general election ballot. That's what I'm asking you to do for our community.
We were told anything that goes in the general election ballot will be fought. That's what I'm saying, and so therefore I can't support it. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say a handful of things here and shotgun a couple different topics under this overall umbrella. I'd like to thank the mayor for making an effort to bring healing to the community for this topic. I know he is